Hey, what's up? It's Matt, and I am live again. Yes, you get me twice live today. It's double the pleasure, double your fun. It's Matt and Brian, no double my gum. If you're too old for that commercial, too young for that commercial, I'm sorry. I'm here with Brian. He's a client of ours, and Brian sent me an email this morning that said, "This is why we love you guys." And I said, well, I'm always going to look for the opportunity to get a pat on the back. But outside of that, what caught my attention was the numbers in the email about how well your restaurant is doing right now when a lot of the country is getting their face kicked in because of COVID-19. And I think your first line said you can take that and put it in COVID-19's pipe and smoke it. First, thank you for coming on. Appreciate you coming live.
Sure. So I appreciate you having me. I send a lot of notes to you and Doug because I think it's important for you to see. I know you have your data on the back end, but how we feel on the front line, because I go through this every Sunday and Monday while we're closed and pull data and send a note to the leadership team. And so I typically include you or Doug because I think it's important that you see how the stuff that you do for us impacts us on the ground day in and day out and what it means to us as a small family business, right? One location, about 20, 25 employees. And we're not just making it through, but we're slowly starting to see that we're thriving through this time. And it's kind of setting the stage. And you and I have had a couple of conversations on webinars around if you leverage this time to make yourself better and find areas that you can improve, whether that's physically within your store or whether that's within marketing or what have you, you'll come out of this much better on the other end. I think some of this started months ago, and you've always said marketing is key and getting out there. And so we've always been pretty active on social media. I'll share a statistic. I do data analytics for a day job. And part of it has to do with marketing for one of the largest technology companies on the planet. And they sent out a note that Facebook had just for April has seen a 600% increase in minutes viewed from this time last year. And I think you and I have talked on
Facebook.
So I can only imagine all social media platforms are seeing that. And so we've felt that way from day one when this hit, that, hey, kids, families, they're going to be in front of the screens. Let's leverage it. So we went from 5 to 8 posts a week to probably 12 to 15 and making sure we're getting a couple live videos in, except for when you called me out the other day, missed a week each week. And some of those are things that I think have really helped a lot. We get a lot of feedback in store. I do kind of a Friday night or Saturday night real talk where I just do a live video. And actually the first one I did, I got a little emotional. It was that first week of COVID, and we had literally gone into it planning to get just destroyed. And we had a pretty decent week. I mean, nothing to shake the trees over, but it wasn't bad. And it was just that emotional, the community supported us, right? They stepped up, they came in and kept things going. And so I continue to do that on a weekly basis. But I also do some live stuff, just funny things going on, or if we are having kind of a slower day, I'll get on and go like, where are you guys, right? We're still open, come see us. Yeah. And that connection that we've established over the last year pays off. I'll get literally dozens of people commenting, all right, I'll be there in a little bit, or we were coming for dinner, or, so I think I say it all the time. I just spoke to our local chamber. If you can't have real, honest conversations with your clients, you're doing it the wrong way. They want to hear it. Nobody's confused. They know we're struggling. Even though we look busy, we're not nearly as busy as we were. They know it's hard on employees, but they love to hear it, right? They love to know that when they come in and they spend $20, that's helping Joe and Susie. It's not lining my pockets these days. Even if we're busy, we're not making money, right? Everything has gotten so much more expensive. But as long as we can continue to pay employees and push food out, we're playing for that long game, right? Building that base so when this is all over and dining is an option, we're still part of their rotation. And that's the goal at Fatty's, right? Is build our base, drive new customers. I think I looked last week, we've had about 180 new customers through your VIP program this month, 180 first timers, right? If I can just win half of those to come back 2, 3, 4 times over the next 6 months, it's a great win. So for me, it literally is being on social media, interacting with our customers when they comment, when they like, make sure we don't just leave it off to the side, but we actually go in and dedicate time every day to following up on those and chatting with them, or at least liking their comment or something of that nature. And that's paid huge dividends. But we're all busy. I would say we're probably a little less busy now than we were. So we have that time to be on social media that we didn't before. And if like your gym business, if we start working these muscles now, by the time we get back to normal, quote unquote, you'll have established that rhythm of being on social media every day, 30 minutes to an hour every day, posting, follow-up posts. I go in, I don't know how many of your clients do this. I go in every day and I look at my last 5 posts, and anybody that reacted to it and doesn't like my page, they get an invite. I go through that process painfully every day.
There's an app for that.
I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I have Tanya from our sport team. There's an app. I think it's called Like Inviter, where you put it on I think it's Google Chrome, and when you log in, or if you keep it logged in, every time somebody interacts with your page, it'll invite them to like the page.
And I probably will use it because it gets daunting, but I do like the act of going back, because what it makes me do is I see a lot of comments that way too, and I can go interact with them while I'm doing that. And I think it's the key. And it's funny, it's like being a little local celebrity in my 4 walls. Like, people know who we are, and like, oh, you're the guy that commented on when I commented.
Well, you know what's funny about that, not to interrupt, but what's funny about that ties with what you're saying. I've said this numerous times, and a lot of people don't listen to it. I want you to imagine that you and I are walking down a hallway. We work together, and you get a new tie that your wife gets you for your birthday, and you're walking by, and I say, hey, Matt, nice tie, or hey, Brian, nice tie, and you just keep walking.
Yep.
Like, jackass, you can't say thank you? Well, people don't realize it, but when somebody, most reviews, most comments on social media go what's the word I'm looking for? Go unanswered. Right. Nobody's paying attention to them. And so somebody just said, hey, you guys have great barbecue. Say thank you. And it's a great opportunity to go, hey, Brian, thank you. We appreciate that. What do you like getting the most? It gives you a chance to start the conversation. And with Facebook's algorithm, when that person replies, it's fire, because Facebook sees they engaged. They love that you engaged. And yes, the algorithm knows this, but when they re-engage you again, Facebook's like, oh, Shirley just talked to fatties. Let's go find 23 other people that look just like Shirley in this zip code that should know about this place. And they're friends with her. And that's what happens. And it's just, one thing I've been making a concerted effort on my own. This might sound really small, but I get a lot of people that I'm online. I'm active in probably 20 groups, marketing and restaurants, and I constantly give advice. And I get a lot of people say, hey, Matt, thank you. Before I would thumbs up on the little thing. Now I go back and say, you're welcome. Because I think it's something that, one, it just shows them I saw it, I appreciate it. But two, it allows you to even open the conversation up more.
Well, it's taking that social media, which seems fairly distant, and making it warm and personal. Yeah. And I think that's what we have that like a huge chain doesn't, right? They just can't manage it at the same level that we are as an individual, or even a few locations. But for us, it's become that muscle that we started early on, and we do it every day. And there's no skipping it. And if I'm not going to be available, I hit one of the other owners and go, hey, will you guys make sure we go and invite all the likes and make sure we're commenting or following. And so it's a group effort, and it's paid off. I guess to your point, I don't just go, thanks. It'll be, oh, Matt, thank you so much. What is it you had? And when they come back and say, oh, I had your sliced brisket, it was great. I'm like, oh, do you like chicken? You got to try our chicken lollipops the next time you come in. And they're like, ooh, what's a chicken lollipop, right? So now you do, and other people see chicken lollipop. What's a chicken lollipop? So it just becomes an organic way for the conversation to even go beyond me and you. But now the other people looking at it see what's going on too. I don't know. To me, it's overly simplified, but it's super important that we're interacting on social media with our guests.
And you said that couldn't happen on a chain. I dispute that, because you know what? That chain, we were talking about earlier, Shake Shack just gave back their $10 million. They've got 179 locations. They have 179 managers that on a daily basis are making sure 20 things are done. Well, guess what? Number 21 should be to get on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I don't know if you guys use it. I think it's one of the biggest missed opportunities for restaurants, because it's more of a professional place. It's a larger ticket. Like right now, catering's not happening that much.
Right.
But when catering comes back in 2 or 3 months, there's a huge opportunity to have conversations on LinkedIn with people who would love to have barbecue for their entire sales staff. So I think it can easily be done. What has to happen is it has to be a standard operating procedure that, hey, yes, you clean the fryers and you check Facebook. It's got to be equal. And unfortunately, everybody has this excuse the corporations do that, our managers aren't Facebook first. You know what? Make them.
Right.
My wife, my nickname for my wife was the email lady when we graduated college, because I used to make fun of her for using this thing called email because I thought it was stupid. And then like 2 years later, I'm a digital marketer.
Right.
But
you're probably right too, because it's no different. I use this analogy with one of our newer managers. I was like, for us, it's no different than touching a table. And you would never tell a manager to not touch tables, right? Yep. That's the cornerstone of customer service. Is like when I'm managing the store, I touch probably 90% of the tables that are there when we have dine-in. Yep. And so to me, that's what I'm doing with social media, is I'm just touching tables. So maybe that's your good point, right? You train your managers, get them to do it, and make it part of their nightly closing routine or their opening routine or whatever it is you feel fits with your restaurant. But it is definitely part of our world.
I just made a note, the digital table touch.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing. And it's so easy. But so another thing about it, and here's a really cool thing. I don't know if you do this or not, but if you've noticed when we reply, our staff replies to a lot of the comments, they say, hey, thanks, we love it too. We like ABC. Tag a friend who would like it too. And, not everybody does it, but you know what? It's a free. If they tag them and the person gets involved, you just got a free opt-in. 20% of them are going to come in. So it gives you a good thing there. You said something earlier that, and then we'll get into the email here in a second, but you said something earlier that really hit home on my second podcast, shameless plug, mptv.watch, every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. 2 weeks ago, I had Yanni, who has a Euro place up in King Euros up in Columbus. And Yanni, I've never seen a restaurant so active on stories. Literally Instagram and Facebook stories. I'd be willing to bet on a bad day 25 to 30 times.
Wow.
And I'm like, dude, how are you doing that much and why? And I said, I know why, but tell us why. And he said, Matt, I look at it this way. If 15 people see one story and 30 see two and 45 see three, if you see me, if I have a chance to reach people that many more times a day, and maybe I reach this person 5 times one day because I do 15 stories, they might go, okay, I give in, I'm coming. But I look at it as we have pictures of food coming out. They do little stories. The one manager, when she actually eats, it's kind of funny. When she eats her lunch in between when they're busy, she does a story on the entire thing. Like, hey, today I got this. And she's sitting there eating like, oh my God, it's so good. Here's what I like about it. It's something nobody else is doing. But if you add up the views and you go 30, 100, 70, 200, and you do that 20 times a day, 365 days a year, holy crap. You talk about a digital weight loss program, you're going to have a 6-pack before you know it.
Well, and we just actually, it's funny that you brought up stories, because we hadn't been doing stories. And I belong to an Oklahoma barbecue owner group. Okay. And we try to share things around who's getting the best prices, what are you doing marketing, blah, blah, blah. And one of the guys asked if you let your employees partake in Facebook. And I was one of the first to comment saying, well, inadvertently, we'll run picture contests. Right. And for 7 days, we ask our employees to capture pictures of food, employees eating, just cool things going on in the store, front, back, doesn't matter. And it's a way to engage the entire store. A lot of times contests are front of the house only. And then they submit them to the owners and we make a decision and we hand out a gift card. But we end up using a lot of those as part of our promotional pictures. Right. Even if they didn't win, there's tons of good ones. Yeah. Well, one of the guys piggybacked on me. He's like, take it a step further and let them post those to your stories. I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting idea. So now that's been rattling around in my head for a couple of weeks, and we've got to kind of build a plan around it. But I think, to your point, it's not just taking my view; it's getting the view of my 16-year-old cashier, my 40-year-old cook, my dishwasher, the pit master. It's like, so it kind of gets a different flavor, because I always have an opinion and a view that I'm looking for. But who would connect with my 16-year-old cashier's point of view? Probably someone that's not 45 like me. Yeah. Right? So I think that's kind of coming down the pipe for us. And I think that goes to, I had this conversation with the chamber the other day. If you're sitting here complaining and you're sitting here doing the same thing you've always done, you're just killing yourself. This is a time to learn. This is a time to evolve. Go try a few things. People are going to be super forgiving at this point in time. And so if we screw up some stories and things don't look right or feel right, okay, we'll work out the kinks and kind of get it right, while people are probably in a more forgiving mood than ever before.
Yep. So I want to dig into this email that you sent, because I wonder if I can make it full screen. Here we go. I'll make it full screen. Get us off here. So here's what it says, and you can read it when you're watching this later on, or pause your screen, but it says, from Brian, 20-to-1 ad revenue ROI. Put that in your COVID-19 pipe and smoke it. Look at the cost of acquisition, the $8 per redemption, average check for $17 on that $8 acquisition cost. And it basically shows a chart. And I would say this, Brian, you're one of the customers that goes pretty deep into the numbers. I love, because we have it there. But you show that, 14-to-1 return on ad spend since we started, 20-to-1 in April right now, 17-to-1 in March. What are some things from this that pop out to you as a restaurant owner that gets your attention? Because a lot of restaurants don't see this type of stuff, and a lot of our clients don't look this deep. What gets your attention?
Well, for me, and I'll back up, I'll give you a little bit of background. I apologize. You're going to see the side of my face because I'm looking at my bigger screen. For me, I look at it. Oh, if you're going to do that, I can bring it back. I'm a data analyst by day, right? So for me, I make decisions based off of data and numbers, not emotions, not a gut feeling. Now, that doesn't mean that doesn't play in sometimes, but data is what leads the way for me. So when I started with you guys in October, I was very clear with Doug he's like, give me 90 days and let's see what happens, right? We need time to build a database and then things will start rolling. And so I knew I had to start tracking, not that I didn't trust you guys, from day one to see if what you were telling me was matching what I was seeing on my end. Yep. And as you can tell, I've gotten happier and happier. So we made a change a couple months ago and started adding, went from 200 to 300, because my hypothesis was, well, I felt like January was pretty good at 6-to-1, right? Anytime I get over 7 or 8-to-1 on my ad spend, I'm a pretty happy guy. I was like, what happens if I up to 300? And now I just talked to Doug yesterday. Now, what happens maybe next month we up to 400? Where's that point of return where I'm not getting that change? So we're slowly pushing that up to see if it's going to stay the same kind of results. The thing that jumps out to me here, especially in this time, is that row at the bottom, the ad revenue as a percentage of sales.
Okay.
And why is that important to me? Because right now, if I didn't have you guys, I'd be doing at least 8% worse than I am now, right? It's about every so $8 of every 10 or out of $100 is because of ROI, right? It's because of the marketing program, and that adds up very quickly in a small business like mine. And so for me, that's what I look at probably more than anything is, am I getting close to that 10% of our overall revenue? Because that's a huge number. Show me any other marketing program out there that's responsible for 10% of your overall sales. Especially, it can be tracked down to the individual level. Not even the individual level. I can take your all's report, and because it's got names on it, I can go back and look and see what people are buying. It's very tedious, but I can do that.
And over and above that too, and this is something that we don't get credit for a lot, and it just happens, is that we had a client of ours last year that we ran the program on. I think it was 14 corporate stores, and they had another 50 that weren't in our program. And our program accounted for a 2% lift in net sales, store sales, attributed to the program. The stores in our program had a 5.1% net year-over-year increase. Other stores had 1%. So they had a 4.1% lift, of which 2% we knew was from us. Well, the other 2%, the only thing they did different was us. So it's like, hey, like in their case, people come in and use offer 1 and offer 2, but their 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 10th, 20th visit isn't tracked because they don't have something to redeem, because we don't want them to always have something to redeem. We just want to drive brand loyalty.
Well, and I think that's the data guy. I would love to be able to track those as well. But I can tell you, just from being in there, we have a system in place. We ask if this is your first time in. We know so I can tell you which ones were buy one get one first timers, and now I see them twice a week, and they're not using a buy one get one, right? So we've tracked, and just by general being in there, you can see the ones that have returned over and over. And I'm sure I'm missing a lot because I'd love to be able to capture those. But we see it works anecdotally day in and day out. But it comes down to, you have to have good food, good service, and to me, a bit of a personality, a reason and experience for people to come back to. If you do that, a program like yours is huge. If you don't even put out a good product, then maybe spend some time there first. I know you probably hate to hear that as a marketer, but that, to me, you have to have good food in a good environment and good service. All those are tickets to entry. If you have that, something like this is gasoline on a fire. That's my experience.
Well, I agree there. When we look at a client that comes on board, we have a good client, bad client list. And I've told Doug this before. I tell everybody that's our team that deals with clients from a sales standpoint. It's like, hey, we're not the end. Like I had a guy literally call me 6-8 months ago, end of last year. He said, hey, we're probably 60 to 90 days from going out of business unless we figure something out. And I'm like, dude, I'm probably not your figuring out. I'd love to jump in and help you, but I'm just going to let you know that you've probably done a bunch of other stuff. My marketing program that accounts for 5 to 10% ain't going to seal the deal to help you get out. And then we also look at, clients that have bad reviews. If you've got a 2.4 out of 400 reviews on Facebook, I can send you people all you want. If you piss them off, it don't matter.
Right.
And so, you're exactly right there. But no, I appreciate your feedback. I love getting emails like that. I like getting those emails. Honestly, to tell you this, truthfully, very few customers, even though some of my best customers, send that stuff because they're paying us to do that. And so I love when we get that so I can show that to my team because I'm not doing anything. I haven't touched your ads. I created some 2 years ago, but I personally haven't done anything on your account except look at it, maybe give some tweaks and ideas. But I love showing that to the team behind the scenes and see, hey, look, you're making a hell of a difference on the families at these businesses.
Yep. Shout out to Ashley and Tom for sure. Right there. Yep. They're beasts in the background. So I think look at I color code things, but I was happy at 6-1 in January. I was ecstatic in February. We made that our new baseline. We got to get to 10. That's why I made it green. Well, crap. In March, I blew it out at 17. And now in April, I'm doubling it. I can't imagine I'm going to end the month at under 20 to 1, right? So when I explain that to people, because I apologize, I'm a data guy and a lot of people aren't. When I say a 20 to 1 return on investment, I mean for every dollar I'm spending with the ROI program on ads, I'm making $20. I don't know anybody in the world that would be unhappy with spending $1 and getting $20 back.
Well, here's over and above that. And this is, I'm in the process. You'll like this. We're finishing up something in Google Data Studio that's letting us show more of a story on our dashboard for our clients that don't want to dig through it. They can look. But when you look at that, yes, you're getting 20 to 1 on your ad spend, but you also gained 406 opt-ins, which means you probably had somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 engagements, which probably meant we reached about 4,000 people. So we had all these metrics, and you say, okay, if I got 476 opt-ins and 136 redemptions, you had 184 redemptions in March. You guys have great products, service. You do a great job. Those 184 are going to come back 5 or 6 times the next year. And so while it's great to look and say, hey, we got in April or in March, a 17 to 1 return on ad spend. So every dollar you spend on ads, you got 17 in revenue, but you also got engagement, reach, impressions, and you're probably going to get that 5 to 10 times over this year.
Well, and I know you can't see it, but I take your same spreadsheet, right? All I've done is connected it to an offline spreadsheet, so I have access to the data and I can actually play with it. I can show you which customers are spending the most money by name, and so we know which ones are super important when they come in and redeem again. I've got a guy named Daniel. I was going to see if I could refresh real fast. That has come in and spent probably $700 or $800 last check through redemptions.
Wow.
We all know him by name, and we all know that he is absolutely one of our top returning customers. But more importantly, it shows me who hasn't come in but that one time. And so now we've just started talking about how do we go build a plan that it's been 4 weeks since they came in initially. How do I go push to them, right? I can show you, here's these clients that came in February. I haven't seen them in March. What do I got to go do specifically for them to drive it in? And all that data is there, right? Now I'm better at mining it than a lot of people, but it's there. And you just have to be willing to go spend some time and look at it is kind of how I feel about it. So his name was Daniel, and he is sort for me. I can't talk and sort and do math. Come on, why are you? Well, see, I shouldn't do this on the fly.
Yeah, it happens.
But yeah, it's one of those. You can't imagine how empowering for someone like me this is. This gives me a lot of ability to make changes the way that I want to make changes by using data, right? Not just, yeah, that's pretty good. We'll try that.
Yeah, hope and praying. That's the book title I'm working on for the next couple of years is Eliminate Hope and Pray from Your Marketing, because I think that's unfortunately what a lot of businesses are stuck with. Okay, I want to end with a question. I want to give you an idea, and you tell me if Matt Plapp is marketing drunk or if this is something that you could see putting in place. So right now, carry out, pick up, curbside delivery is a part of the business you're in in the next, probably the foreseeable future, next 30, 60, 90 days. Something I've not seen yet. I did a video on this the other day. I said, imagine if you as a consumer got your food from your restaurant, got home, opened it up, and there's a free payday in there. And you're like, there's a note that says, hey, we know times have been tough lately. We appreciate you spending money with our business and our family. Wanted to give you a payday of your own. Enjoy this on us. Like, obviously, that's a generic example if I got from a gas station across the street, but you've got desserts.
Yep.
Have you thought about doing something that they're not expecting? Because I probably on a low end 30 times in the past 3 weeks have gotten food from a restaurant and eaten with my family. I expect it to be hot. I expect it to be good. I expect it to be presented fine. I'm not expecting a surprise. I've not gotten one yet. Do you think that would be something that would stand out and is doable for a restaurant?
I do. And I think something like a candy bar that's deliberate, right? Me putting 3 cobblers in there may just look as if I screwed up and put a wrong dessert in a bag. But I think something with a message on it, like a candy bar that we could do in advance, right? We could write a bunch of notes.
What's that 100 grand bar? Is that what it's called, 100 grand?
Yeah, 100 grand. Here's 100 grand. Hope your family uses it wisely. Or so, you could get funny with it. We could probably go get a multi-pack of them and find some kind of crazy little note to put with each one. Get your staff involved. Let them come up with some of the crazy messages. You can do it in advance so it doesn't disrupt my flow. It'd be super easy to set them all right by the bags and tell the whoever the porter is doing the bags, every third one, throw one in there. Right? Let's just randomly do it. We actually talked about doing some, I call them comeback cards. Anybody that we knew did a redemption, we would exclude from this first one. We would try to grab the non-redemption folks to put a comeback card in and start to track how many of those are coming back. So it became the same general kind of idea of what can I do just to differentiate myself? I tell you, I got food this weekend from a local group because we do the same thing. I eat out a lot since I own a restaurant. And they wrote our names on the bags and thanked us. And it was very personal, and that was really cool to get. I'd love a candy bar though, but I think anything you can do personally to touch a customer right now is important. I literally just had a conversation with my staff Friday because I was listening to phone calls. I'm a sit and watch guy, and we just sounded like we were in a hurry and we were bored in a sense, like you were just the next person to get through. And I had to remind them, we had a stop moment. I'm like, hey guys, you may be the only person they talk to today. Think about that. For the person that's shut in, or they're shut down by themselves, single person, you may be the only person they talk to. I was like, so engage. We're not in that much of a hurry. Chat with them for a moment. Make sure you're pleasant, all those things. So a candy bar and a note would go a long way for someone like that who's been cooped up for weeks by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, you could make it to where it doesn't look like a mistake. You could put a 100 grand. I don't know if it's 100 grand, $100,000 bar. By the way, they are amazing. Somebody gave me one about 2 months ago. I had never had one in my entire life. It's a good candy bar, but you could put that in there and go, hey, there's stimulus money out there. There's bailouts, fatties. We want to help. Here's 100 grand on us. Enjoy the candy bar. Appreciate your business. That is going to make them go, wow, because nobody else is doing it. So I'm going to see. Are you up to do it, Brian?
Oh, it's happening. Okay. We open up. We're closed on Sunday, Monday. So start looking for it this week. We'll see if some people respond or send us some comments or some reviews. I'll make sure I get them over to you.
And maybe you ought to do a video and say, hey, let us know if you find something different in your bag, the fatty stimulus bill, let us know if it's there.
I love it. The fatty stimulus bill, 100 grand. We're giving out 100 grand.
100 grand. Dude, that might be funny. We're giving out 100 grand.
Check your bag. Oh. Did you get the 100 grand?
Yeah. Cool. Hey, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your business, and keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring.
Thank you, you and your team. I know I said all the time, you guys are phenomenal partners. I literally called Doug on a Saturday afternoon we were getting a couple errors. He had it fixed in a matter of minutes. Your team is super responsive. And I do feel like it's a partnership. I'm not just paying you guys money. We work together on things. And you can see from the results you've shared that partnership is what it's all about. So we appreciate you guys very much.
Cool. I appreciate you. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Matt.